The wind of the desert had a way of whispering loneliness across the wide plains, and no one felt that loneliness sharper than Ethan Cross, the quiet rancher whose nearest neighbor lived 20 miles away and whose heart had been empty. For far too many seasons, he spent his days mending fences, speaking only to his horses, and watching the sun fall behind the Arizona mesas with a sorrow that had settled into his bones. But on one strange evening where the horizon glowed copper and the air felt thick with signs, Ethan heard the faint drumming of hooves. At first, he thought it was a storm rolling in, but soon the shapes emerged, Four Apache Sisters, riding with the grace of spirits, their silhouettes cutting through the dying light. Ethan stepped out of his barn, wiping sweat from his brow, startled not by the riders, but by the look in their eyes, determined, bold, unafraid. The eldest dismounted first. Nayeli, tall and composed, spoke with a soft strength. "Rancher, we came for you." Her words hit him like a bolt of lightning. Behind her stood Alaka, gentle-eyed and careful, Sahana, fiery and sharp-tongued, and Kohana, the youngest, curious and brave. Ethan felt his throat tighten. He had known Apache families nearby, helped them once during a drought, but never had he imagined their daughters would stand before him, united by some purpose he could yet not grasp. "For me?" he asked, voice low. Nayeli nodded. "Yes, you helped our people when the rivers dried. You shared water, food, medicine. You saved lives without asking for anything. We have not forgotten." Alaka stepped closer, her eyes shimmering like starlit lakes. "Our father, the chief, sent us," he said. The lonely rancher with the brave heart must not live alone anymore. Ethan's chest tightened, not from fear, but from something warm, something he had not felt in years. Sahana folded her arms with a wry smile. "And we agreed. You look like someone who hasn't smiled in years," Kohana added with bright innocence. "We wanted to change that." Ethan swallowed hard. He was a strong man, broad-shouldered and weather-tanned, but at that moment he felt exposed, vulnerable. "But why me?" he whispered. Nayeli took a step closer. Her voice trembled with honesty. "Because good men are rare, and when our father said we may choose paths of our own, we chose to come here to thank you, to help you, to know you." Ethan had no answer. His chest felt like the desert right before rain, tight, waiting, hopeful. The sisters exchanged a glance. Then Nayeli said, "Let us stay for a while. Let us work beside you. Let us see if our paths belong together." It wasn't forwardness. It was sincerity. Pure, unbroken sincerity. That evening, Ethan prepared dinner: simple beans, bread, and roast, and the sisters sat around his wooden table, talking, laughing, filling the house with a warmth he had forgotten existed. Alaka complimented his cooking. Sahana teased him for burning the bread. Kohana asked endless questions about ranch life, and Nayeli watched him with a gentle understanding, as if she could see the scars he never spoke of. When the lantern flickered low, Nayeli rose and stood near him. Her voice was calm. "Ethan, your heart has been hurting for too long. We can feel it. We came because you deserve company, friendship, maybe someday more. But tonight, let us just be here. Let us remind you that life is not meant to be lived alone." Something inside Ethan broke quietly, like dry wood snapping. He hadn't cried in 10 years, but a single tear slipped down his cheek, and Alaka, with her compassionate nature, gently wiped it away. "You don't have to be strong all the time," she whispered. Sahana placed a hand on his shoulder. "Strength is not silence." Kohana leaned against the table. "And silence is not life." For the first time in many years, Ethan felt the walls around his heart loosening. The next weeks were unlike anything he had ever known. The sisters worked beside him, carrying water, mending fences, tending horses. Kohana raced him across the fields, laughing freely. Alaka brought calmness to his restless thoughts, teaching him songs of her people. Sahana challenged him, questioned him, pushed him to see more, feel more. And Nayeli was the quiet fire, the steady bond forming between them like a red thread woven by fate. She walked with him at dusk, sharing stories of the mountains and the sky, and Ethan found himself opening up in ways he never imagined. He spoke of his past, of heartbreak, of wandering through life with an empty heart. Nayeli listened, not to answer, but to understand. In her silence, he found comfort. In her words, he found hope. One night, as the desert wind drifted softly through the open window, the Four Sisters sat with Ethan by the fire. The flames cast golden halos around them, turning the room into something sacred. Sahana nudged Ethan with her elbow. "So, rancher, have we brought some life back into this place?" He smiled, an honest, wide smile, the kind that reaches the soul. "More than you know," he said. Kohana clapped happily. Alaka placed her hand over his. "Your loneliness is fading. We can see it." And then Naeli, with her calm and determined voice, spoke what they were all feeling. "Ethan, we didn't just come for you. We came with something. A choice, a connection, a chance for something beautiful to grow. And if your heart chooses, any of us, or even chooses friendship, alone, then that is enough."